Financially, it's one of the best positions in Hawaii to be the director of the Milan Gallery. My philosophy is I hate when I go to shop for jeans and someone 2 seconds into the door is giving me 3 pair of jeans. You gotta try these. Creating that vibe where the people feel comfortable enough to grow.
Because ultimately, you're kind of a matchmaker in a way. You're trying to find person and art and, make them married. Welcome to the Light Movement Show. I am here today with Jock Armour. He is gallery director of Milan Art Gallery, and you might recognize him as Frightened Inmate number 2 from Hawaii Five-0. I did read your IMDb page.
You did?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a reference to Arrested Development.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh.
So I'll send you the clip to that.
Okay. But yeah, so Jock is our gallery director at Milan Art Gallery, and we always have artists on the show a lot, but we so rarely get to talk to someone that's kind of on the other side, in the industry. You're one of the people that, determines if an artist gets in a gallery or not. So I feel like you have some really good insights.
Yes. They're good insights, good stories.
Yeah.
It's interesting to be on that end of it because it's part of an artist's career. Like after the painting or sculpture lands in the gallery, unless they're there every day, you're leaving it in someone's hands. So
yeah,
you need to make sure that person represents you properly, tells your story properly, and there's all different types of directors. So
yeah. So let's get into Jock a little bit. Okay. How did you come to become, how did you get into being in galleries and stuff?
My background, I went to college in Ohio. And was born in Vegas. I went to boarding school in Scotland when I was young. Been all over. Wind up in Ohio. So instantly thinking
Scotland to Ohio. That's the transition there. Yeah.
So after I was able to, I was like, I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
But Toledo, Ohio, where I went to college, is called the Glass City. My grandmother collected glass art. These little called carnival glass. Mm-hmm. Just it's little things that you think of that when I finally walked in a professional gallery was when I was in Hawaii on Oahu. I was working as a ghostwriter and this guy paid me to write a book. I said, why don't you pay me half but put me up in a hotel so I get to go to Hawaii. Walked into the gallery where this glass artist, David White, makes these glass waves. And this connection that I've seen 1,000 times since happened to me where I'm looking at this inanimate object that's $750 and I can't get it out of my head. I left, came back, left, came back. Every time I walked into the gallery again, I said, listen, I don't want to waste your time. I got student loan debt. I said every objection that I now hear all the time. But I knew in my heart, there's something about it. It was reminding me of my grandmother. It was representing things in my life. It was like this form of communication that I couldn't say with words. And anyway, the lady at the gallery was the director. Mm-hmm. And another reason I kept coming back was she was just letting me kind of talk.
Yeah.
She wasn't throwing things down my throat and here, we got to finance. And if you don't buy it, you're dumb. It's going to go up in price. She just kind of let me talk myself into it and gave me an ultimatum and said, listen, if you really like it, she was short-staffed. She said, I will give this to you and the gallery will pay for it because we need some help. Someone's on vacation. So if you're here for a month, why don't you work 3 weeks of those 4 weeks and take it home with you? And that kind of hooked me,
Yeah.
And then I kind of realized, hey, I was supposed to go back and start law school.
Oh, wow.
So this seems a little bit more fun. Let me do this for a little longer before I give up my happiness, basically, to go into something I didn't want to do. Which, after about another year to finish this out, because it's a long story, I called my dad, who was a surgeon. Mm-hmm. And he was really excited that I was going to be a lawyer. Mm. And I said, Dad, I got some news for you. I just figured this out, which is why it took so long, but I don't really think I'm a lawyer. I like this little gallery gig I'm doing at this gallery, Hawaii. I like everything about it. So I'm sorry, I'm just not a lawyer. And he just kind of laughed. He's like, yeah, I know. So it kind of solidified and affirmed in me, this is what I should do.
Yeah.
So that's how it started.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what was it? So what were you like doing when you were first starting out? Like basically just helping out in that gallery. Like what did she make you do?
It's funny because I think back and I was like so excited. Times when it's slow or I get like, oh man, it's so slow in here. It's hot. Anytime I start thinking of like complaints, I kind of remember how I felt then because I was showing up early, dressed to the nines. This is Waikiki. At the time, I was at the Waikiki Gallery, so everyone kind of dressed up. And I just felt, I mean, it was an hourly position with commission. But when you first start at a gallery, you don't really have a client base. I was volunteering to hang the gallery, so she just kind of let me, here, you want to hang all these paintings? Sure, I'll go get lunch.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was kind of teaching myself the ins and outs of how galleries run
Yeah.
because I wanted to know everything about it. I just wanted to consume this job.
Yeah. So what was it about you finding that connection with that artwork that made you want to kind of start helping other people find those connections too?
Well, I think because it was kind of the first time I really had that visceral experience with art. My father collected art. He had a Salvador Dali, an original watercolor above his home office. We grew up in Vegas, and I was really, really young, but I just remember, I didn't know who that guy was at the time. But I just remember looking at that and like, oh, that's kind of cool. It's, it looks like something I would draw.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I finally found something that kind of connected me to what my dad did with his free time, he collected a lot of art. It was like art to me at that time and still, but for the first time kind of was like a language, we're so hung up with what I want to say about myself, but this thing just represented something I couldn't articulate. It just connected me to a feeling, an emotion, and a time and place, and that's a big part of what you got to learn going into the business end of it. People are looking to find something that reminds them of a memory, a person, a vacation. So another thing too that I notice now is kind of like I've been going to all the museums since I moved here, and you see so many portrait art. That's what you did back then. You get a portrait of yourself.
Yeah.
And I kind of think now, like with the variety of art out there, you're still kind of looking for a portrait of yourself. It's just not so on the nose.
Yeah.
This animal reminds me of, my spirit as a lion. And that's what I see with Demetra's clients and fans and Ellie's mermaids. And, you see these people that are just, they're like reflecting what they feel, and that's it. So that's why they want it.
Yeah. So you worked in that gallery, basically paying off the piece of art. So how that was like, how long ago? Like
12 years.
12 years.
Yeah.
So how did you get from that point to, where you are now? Now you're the gallery director.
Yeah. That gallery, so it was the Wyland Gallery in Waikiki, and I was an art consultant. So there's different terms and positions in galleries.
Yeah.
Art consultant is the guy who hangs everything and sweeps up and does everything for the directors. The company decided to open one next door, and the gallery, it's called Signature Gallery. So it was a big conglomerate. It's a name that can also represent other artists. So they'll put the name Wyland because that's, the most recognizable artist they carry in Hawaii. So anyway, they wanted to open up like their flagship Signature Gallery that had a lot of guest art. And for Waikiki, where everything's landscape, diamond head painting, and Hawaiian art, I was really excited about this opportunity, just working in that side of the gallery, because I liked more like Dali and just I didn't like the typical kind of turtle on a beach.
Yeah, like here's a pretty picture.
Personally,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
personally. So they decided to make me the director of that location.
Oh, cool.
And that was when I first met Dimitra.
Yeah, I was about to ask how
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
So I became the assistant director of the Wyland. Then they opened that up, let me run it. And then a position opened up in Maui. So then I switched over there as a, what was my title? Sales manager, because they had 2 galleries there. They wanted me to help with both. Then the director of the Wyland Gallery on Front Street, which had been there for like 38 years,
Yeah.
was retiring. So I took that job, and it's an interesting kind of progression of how I decided to do that, because financially it's one of the best positions in Hawaii to be the director of the Wyland Gallery. He's got a fan base, people know him, his price points are all the way up to, $200,000, $500,000 published originals.
Yeah.
Not that you sell those every day, but
Yeah.
but like I said, I personally, that wasn't like my jam, I wanted to represent up and coming artists, more like avant-garde stuff.
Yeah.
But I did this, took stock of what was important, and I started thinking about the people that I met and their stories, and how this one painting of a turtle reminds them of when they went snorkeling that day with their family, or they've been coming to this gallery since they were 15, and now I'm a doctor. I want to finally buy a $20,000 original.
Yeah.
So it kind of taught me what I need to learn and what is important as a director. You got to take your own biases out of things and just really focus on helping people understand and buy what is important to them. So when I decided, or when I was offered, first of all, let me go back, because it's a big honor to be offered a director position in a Wyland Gallery. He's one of, if not the most sold American artist, or viewed American artist, because he paints on the sides of buildings. People just recognize him. And he stands for not just selling art and making money, it's all about ocean conservation. So
Yeah.
I kind of took stock of what was important running that gallery. I mean, it's a big responsibility, but I started noticing and remembering how many people were moved to tears, and learning their stories of how they had been going to that gallery since they were a kid, and now they're wealthy, or old enough to at least afford something.
Yeah.
But I also kind of learned a lot from him and the way his gallery's set up. There's original sketches for $400 or $500,000 published originals, and anything in between. So if someone comes in and they're looking for something, there's kind of no exit. There's no reason for them to say, well, I can't really get anything.
Yeah. It's like, there's something you can get.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So you did that.
So that was, let's see, that was maybe 9 years ago. So Waikiki to Maui. The 2 galleries in Maui that I was the sales director was called Darubis, which is a metal artist, but we also would put guest artists. So Dimitra's work was in that location. So my clients from when I was in Waikiki could transfer to Maui. And I'm also mid to late 20s, so I kind of thought of the move, I'm not going to be able to do any acting productions, or all the
Hawaii 5-0.
I can't go to this club, or
Yeah.
because Maui's a little sleepier, at least in my head. But I mean, I honestly didn't really care about any of that stuff. I just thought it was important.
As your late 20s
Yeah.
male is. Yeah.
Get older and more boring, but
Yeah.
that it was like my Goldilocks island, because it was just busy enough, but it was beautiful. That's why people kind of flock there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious to know, because I'm sure a lot of people watching and listening right now might not really know what a gallery director does. So what do you do, Jock? What are you responsible
Yes.
for as gallery director?
So many things.
Yeah, I know. You should see our Slack channel.
A lot of yeah, yeah, a lot of little things. A lot of little things that you think, oh, someone will take care of that, but it's on you. I think the most important thing is just kind of curating vibe,
Yeah,
a vibe where artists want to be in the gallery. First of all, they feel like they'll be represented properly, but also that clients want to come in and not feel that experience that we've all felt, where they just feel like small. I don't know if that's the right word.
yeah,
My philosophy is I hate when I go to shop for jeans and someone 2 seconds into the door is giving me 3 pair of jeans. You got to try these.
yeah,
And I'm like, dude, I don't even know what I want. Like
yeah. It's
how
like,
do
I
you
just
know?
got here.
Yeah. Let me breathe. Right. So that's kind of how I ran the gallery. I think that's why they bumped me up as fast as I did.
Yeah,
Kind of.
yeah. It sounds like you kind of climbed the ladder pretty quickly.
Yeah, there's also a lot of, there's heavy turnover in Hawaii galleries. Thing about galleries is it attracts some interesting people. A director can view the job as like a sales position, which it is.
Yeah,
Don't ever forget, I always kind of have to remind myself that's something that, at the end of the day, you have to be profitable, you have to keep the doors open. But there's a nice balance where
yeah. You don't
you
want
don't
to.
get fired after 2 weeks if you didn't sell something.
Yeah, yeah,
So I think creating that vibe where the people feel comfortable enough to grow as our consultants, and then scheduling shows, and I think the main thing though is connecting with people, because so many people walk in and you hear the same thing over and over. It's I'm just looking.
yeah, yeah.
And it's okay, but sometimes when they say that, people get tired of hearing that over and over, and they can be, I don't know, rude to that person or whatnot. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think that's an interesting thing. So over your years of, being in this business and stuff, how do you because ultimately you're kind of a matchmaker in a way. You're trying to find a person and art and, make them married.
Yeah.
So how do you take someone that is like, oh, I'm just looking, or, and guide them towards collecting?
There's a lot of ways.
Yeah.
That's another education I learned from Waikiki is you talk to people from all walks of life. A lot of the clientele from that gallery was Japanese, so I actually took a class. This is how young and excited I was about the job, about customs, because there's certain things with certain cultures, if you look someone in the eye too long, if
Yeah.
you're only talking to the wife and you ignore the husband that was a lot of things that I never thought to think of.
Yeah.
So the matchmaking part of it, the big family from Texas might want you to poke fun of the kids and, hey, put your phone down for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And they're like, thank you. We're trying to get them to do that. You got to really be present. So
Yeah.
you can't kind of phone it in. I hate hearing this and it's so obvious, but when I am shopping for anything and you just hear something that's rote memory, like a line they read in a sales magazine,
Oh, yeah.
this and that, I don't know. I don't even want to give it
It's like you're starting to walk into like a rehearsed play.
pitch.
A
Yeah,
pitch, yeah.
yeah. So it's not easy. I mean, you have to have a passion for it. And I wouldn't
Yeah.
hire anyone unless the way I would do it is you work there and you're not on commission for a month. Decent hourly pay, but you have to really learn before you start taking people as clients and we let you go and you're in control of telling this artist's story. You got to learn. You got to read every piece of literature I give you. I would make sure each person that worked there owned a piece of art, whether
Yeah,
we find a creative way to gift it to them.
Yeah.
You got to really get them invested emotionally. because people pick up when you're excited about it, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
is how, when I met Ellie and Demetra, the whole reason I'm sitting here, I believe, is because one of the shows, her first tour in the galleries in Hawaii, I mean, I remember thinking, like, I got to watch this girl paint live. There's no way she's doing this.
Yeah.
I think her parents are doing this for her. So I loved her art. I really did. And my clients could tell that it was different. And I just remember Ellie sitting there kind of watching how things were working. And there's a lot of sharks in those galleries. And especially the Wyland Gallery, when you're at the top tier, you get people that came from timeshare sales and
Yeah.
a lot of timeshare sales. I just remember having such a great rapport with Ellie because Demetra's young, you know, and she's been on the...
Yeah, she was like, what, 16, 15,
Yeah.
something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, and I just remember thinking, like, you know, it's so good that her mom's here shielding her from
Yeah.
all these people that are just, here, take a picture with this client. I got to make this sale, you know?
Yeah.
So caring about the artist is another thing. That you want to make sure you know what they want to say, not just what they say with their painting, but what's the backstory? You know, what do you want me to convey to the client?
Yeah.
You know, so how can I be a matchmaker? Let me be that last step since you won't be here.
Yeah. It's like you got to be able to like stand in for them,
Yeah.
basically.
Then they can swipe right on the painting on the wall.
Yeah.
And it goes into the viewing room.
Until it's a match. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are some ways? I feel like that could be some really valuable insight to any artists that are watching this is like what do you need from an artist when they want to be in like, you know, a gallery you're directing?
Yeah. There's a lot, like once you go into the world as a professional artist, okay, as a gallery director, one thing that bothers me slightly, but definitely bothers any gallery director is when you just show up unannounced.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, look at this. You got to think it's a professional environment. And if they're in the middle of talking to someone and now, oh, you know, you kind of get them out of their flow.
Yeah.
Even if you're a great artist, that first impressions are important. So what I would recommend is come in, introduce yourself, say, hey, is there a time when I can sit down if you're interested and show you what I have? I mean, obviously, if no one's in the gallery and I'm just sitting around, it's not the worst thing to introduce yourself, say I'm an artist. But just think professionally, like they might be busy.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself, have a body of work, not just 3 or 4 paintings.
Yeah.
You want
I
to
feel like that's a
show.
big one. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to, it's like Shark Tank, you know, you can come in too early.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure you're ready. You want to make sure you're ready for success because if things take off and all of a sudden, like Park West is a good example. Like I know all the Milan girls went through this.
Yeah.
They want 20 originals by next week.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you have to be able to keep up with demand.
Yeah. And it can be, and then you're, you know, phoning it in. Man, I'm tired, but I got to do 20 more. Like, I don't know. You really want to have the energy to do it. But another big thing is understanding the way galleries work. It's like a mechanic. You know, why are you paying? Why am I paying? Wait, why are you charging $1,000 when I know the part is $300? The labor, right? So
Yeah.
if you're an artist, you want to be seriously in galleries. The split is kind of a standard is 50-50, but that's a good split. If you're
Yeah.
just
Some
starting
galleries
out,
are like 80-20.
yes, Park West was like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even with Wyland, I mean, even big names, that's just what they charge because they set up wine and dine, cruises, all expenses paid.
Yeah, that's true.
So go into it and understand that there will be a relationship. You know, you want this gallery to do well. If they don't pay their bills, then your work won't be displayed at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do feel like sometimes that's something that throws artists off of even wanting to pursue galleries is they think like, even a 50-50 split, like that sounds like, it's a lot. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like you said, you're paying them for a service basically, because when the art is in a gallery, then it's the art consultants and galleries' job to get it seen and sold.
Right. And there's value in a lot of aspects of that split because just by nature of being in a gallery, it will validate you to then sell to your direct client base.
Yeah, exactly.
The rent in Maui was $40,000 a month.
Wow.
So that is another factor to think of.
Yeah. Location of your gallery and stuff.
Yeah, the amount of people that are going to walk through. Now, not every gallery is at that price point, obviously, but just coming up with, I always say, think of a price that you're okay letting it go for. Come up with a standardized price where it's not, well, this one is double because I just kind of like it more.
Yeah.
What I always say, and I had this conversation recently, if you publish it, say you scan it to make prints out of it, it becomes a published original. Then you can price it kind of how you want, right? If you have a standard price, everything's $5 a square inch, but there's one that you really like, I mean, you should publish it. You should take it. Now it's so easy, a lot of ways to do it.
Yeah.
But in the world of art buyers, in like the pyramid of value, it's a tough thing because art is not a commodity like, gold and silver. You can see, well, this is actually the price. Why are you charging this for it?
Yeah.
Art is like very subjective, but it goes publish original, meaning an original like the Mona Lisa, an original that you can also then see on a T-shirt. You can buy limited posters of it. You can buy Jacquet's, then a one-of-one original, then a hand-touched artist-proof print, then a regular print, then meta print. So there's all different prices, right? So if there's one you like, I always say do it that way rather than kind of price yourself out. Because galleries want to also make a profit. So if you need double what they think you should get, they're not going to want to carry you.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So, I kind of want to touch on when you talked about having a good body of work, because what constitutes a good body of work, like number of pieces and anything else you look for in that?
Enough where I can request, if you show me 12 pieces and I want all 12, you're not going to say, well, I don't, I want to keep some too.
Yeah.
So don't show me something I can't have, basically.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
But I don't know, body of work, I mean, it's not that you have to have this warehouse full of stuff. I think most important is, say you only have 12, say, you know what, I'm open to commissions. If someone likes this and it sells the first week, keep a picture and offer a commission. I will do it. This is my time frame. I have this many on my schedule. But also, I think in the phrase body of work, also give your story. Like your body of work is not just the paintings that we're showing, but what can I pull from when someone's looking at a painting? And kind of going back to how there's a lot of different types of people that walk in. Some people are just so like bricks of like wall. It's a stone wall.
Yeah.
Anything I ask them, they're no. Can I get no? Hand in the face,
Yeah.
So I want to have enough bullet points as they're staring, because I notice when someone just stares at something, there's a time where it's like, okay, they're not just browsing, passing, something's happening. They're staring at this piece. It's like in a museum, you can sit in front of a painting for, an hour.
Yeah.
Instead of standing there and kind of, okay, he said, leave me alone, I'm just going to walk away. Be respectful, but have little bullet points. This artist, they have a foundation.
Yeah.
They have a reality series.
Yeah.
Oh, reality series? Yeah, they have a podcast. this podcast.
This podcast.
Little things about them to kind of tell their story. So that's going back to like coming in, don't come in too soon. Kind of come up with something that you can give the director and the art consultants to tell your story for you.
Yeah,
You know?
have your why.
Yes, why I paint this way. Here's my experiences, because people connect just as much with the paint on canvas as they do to the story. You know, they want to see themselves reflected in a piece of work, but all of that depth also gives them things that they get to tell their friends at dinner parties when your piece is hanging on the wall. Oh, you know, I walked in this gallery and at first I walked right by it, but he told me she has horses and showed me pictures, and then, you know, provide a little depth.
Yeah, because you use, like you said, those bullet points. Those are the things that you help bridge the connection between the viewer and the painting.
Yeah, because it is, I mean, going back to the matchmaking part, it's an awkward thing. People will find every excuse. If they love something, there's still 2 or 3 objections that I'm expecting to hear.
Yeah.
Because art is like, I mean, you can argue the other way, but it's a non-essential. I think it's an essential.
Yeah, but there's
like,
that.
My car broke down and I just got to get to work, so I have to get something this weekend. Mm-hmm. And this sales guy's annoying me, but I just need to get, you know. So you got to kind of find the reason why they should buy it today.
Yeah.
Not, you know, I come here every year, and every year that's hanging up because it's a limited edition. You have to kind of do your best to really tell them. And sometimes I swear it's as easy as saying, you should just treat yourself.
Yeah.
You know? There's an art form to doing it that way too, because if you just say that and then you stare at them, they kind of are like, this guy's, you know, what do you mean, you know?
Yeah.
So you got to be a little bit playful, but always come back to what is it about this that, tell me why you're moved right now, you know? Let them open up, you know?
Yeah. Why do you think it is that people will look at a painting and like really love it, but like why do you think they come up with those objections?
I think it's just a knee-jerk reaction to spending money. You know, it's I have kids in college. Man, I would love to get this, but you know, we're trying to get this pool installed. Mm-hmm. They think that is just a luxury that I just shouldn't treat myself. You know.
Yeah, and I feel like people will think that it's like it's something that won't pay off ever.
Yes.
Like it's like an initial thing that's
that's another whole thing about the value of art down the line. What is this worth? Mm-hmm. I mean, I walk into galleries whenever I'm visiting a place. I think that's a great way to just understand cultures and cities and communities. But people don't assume I'm a director, and I'm always kind of watching how they do it. Some galleries where there's multiple ones, and I won't name them, but they have a whole system where they'll pull up this iPad. You know, there's only 200 in this edition of this photograph. It's already look, it's gone up 60%, and there's only 10% left. If you don't buy it, because the objection might be, I'll get it, I'm coming back in October.
Yeah.
By then, it'll be worth blah, 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 blah. So trying to assess value that way is like feels a little grimy to me, you know?
Yeah, it's like you're not buying a stock in the market. Like
you just got to say, listen, here's the price. You've already said, you know, that's not the issue, you know. The other thing is you got to ask, okay, what is it about this? It's 5,000.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that a lot of like people that are beginning to talk about their art or sell their art, or even if, you know, they want to be gallery directors, they have like a lot of aversion to asking, oh, why not?
Artists traditionally are terrible at it.
Yeah.
They'll tell them the price, and I've seen some say it like almost apologetically.
Yeah.
And that's why what I do and what I want people that work with me to do is explain why. Here, That's why
Yeah.
sometimes I don't like the price right on it, because if you walk in a gallery, first thing you see is a $10,000 painting. You might just turn around because you assume, well, this
Yeah.
must be the middle of the price points, and I don't want to be embarrassed because I don't,
Yeah.
I like people to ask me, how much is this? Before I throw out that number, I want to say, this artist, she lives in Amsterdam. She was on this reality show. She does this because it's like an empowerment. You get to tell all that and then tell the price. Instead
Yeah.
of it just being something, okay, initial shock.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cushioning the mental cushion of what that price would be. Then you go from that, okay, what do you think of that? Oh, yeah, it's actually, I thought it'd be worth more, priced more.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's like, is it, okay, I'll be back. Or, you know what, thank you for everything. I like to say, you told me you love it. So just, it would be a disservice to not ask, was there any other question you had? Because if there is, you're not going to get it online, maybe, but I'm the expert. Let's ask them now.
Yeah.
And sometimes I've done that maybe not those words, but find a
Yeah.
way to say it. And they're like, honestly, it's just too small. Oh, did you know she actually does commissions?
Yeah.
Do you know this is a limited edition? We order them in 3 different sizes, Oh, I didn't know that,
Yeah.
So that's the importance of knowing. That's why I said you really got to learn what the artist has in their collection. This happened 2 days ago with one of DJ Freezy's work.
Oh, yeah.
This guy said, I like animals. There's just, there's not the one I like here. I'm kind of searching from gallery to gallery, and said, well, here, look at all these pictures.
Yeah.
Oh my God, is that, he does that? Like, yeah, in fact, I can get it to the gallery by the weekend if you want to see it.
Yeah. And I feel like that's something that's another thing that's so useful to artists about galleries is the networking that can come from it.
Yeah.
Because it's not just, selling the paintings that you put on their walls. It's also like, because a lot of people walk through and will see, this artist's art. And I mean, it exposes your art to a whole new audience that you wouldn't be able to otherwise.
That's the importance of having all different price points too.
Yeah.
Because say, someone's a kid or something, they love Ellie's pieces, right? But I can't buy a painting. Do you want to see her book? You said you're flying home. This is a great read. Oh my God, yeah, I would love to.
Yeah.
And that is just going to plant this seed in that person that will then share that artist. You're constantly in galleries as an artist. You're hoping they sell, but you're reaching such a big audience by just being there and having pieces, even giveaways. Anything that puts that person, connects you to their art, and then they go online and find about everything you do or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think about like what do you see in the future for galleries and stuff? Because, we're in an ever-changing climate. You sometimes I sometimes see people who be like, yeah, galleries, they're dying, Social media always. And it's like, they said the same thing about painting and photography, and that
Said
didn't
the
die.
same thing about radio.
Yeah.
Destroying our youth's mind, and TV and the internet.
Yeah.
It's never going to go away. Even like NFTs and all that, people are still going to want not digital art. They want to have something tangible.
Yeah.
And the other thing is too, man, like people that have money, they want to flex it, right? Like they want to have something. Sometimes I've met people and I'm happy to meet them. It's not the most gratifying day, but when someone just comes in, drops money and they don't even know who it is, they just like that it's expensive.
Yeah.
Trust me, I won't send them my way, but
Yeah.
the gratifying thing is when someone comes in and it's a big purchase. It could be $900,
Yeah.
but they have to really come up with a way to get it, because that really means they connect with it. But I don't know. I think there's always going to be a need for art. I mean, it goes to the core of not just art galleries, but the importance of art through
Yeah.
history.
Yeah, and I do like I feel like I see a sentiment a lot of times in artist circles about like, you sell your art through social media nowadays and stuff. But I mean, yeah, you can. A lot of artists do that. But there's still, I feel like, always going to be a desire for galleries because
Yeah.
I mean, we have Amazon and whatnot, but people still go to Target. People, it's
Yeah.
like there's something still appealing about going into a gallery. There's like it's an experience.
There's something necessary about it too, because
Yeah.
Amazon, I mean, I can reorder the same, you know, energy drinks, clicking a button because I know what those things taste like or look like, or you
Yeah.
know what I mean. Galleries, you really need. I mean, there's so many times people come in and they're like, "I've been looking at Ellie's work. I can't believe how amazing they are in person.
Yeah.
Can't believe how much texture there are in Demetra's pieces with, oh my God, the collage. And then you get to take it in the light, and let me just show you when you move the light. Oh my God,
Yeah.
art is just one of those things that also, if you're spending the price points that most art is at, it's not something you want to look at a little JPEG on your phone
Yeah.
and do. Because part of the experience that I found in buying art is the act of buying it and the people that helped you. Like when you're at that dinner
Yeah.
party, this is what I used to do in my old gallery. We would have a show, my friend Walfredo, who paints seascapes. People would come in because they would hear music from the sidewalk. And there's Walfredo with a ukulele that he painted so that we could keep it in there, playing, and I'm playing slide guitar, and some guy who walked by who's just a passerby plays drums, and we have a little cajon.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, we would have walked right by this place, and then they spent 2 hours. And they're
Yeah.
like, this was the funnest night. Now for the next, life of that client's artwork in their house, they get to tell that story.
Yeah.
And that might also coincide with that was the last trip I took with my dad, because we were,
Yeah. And I feel like doing that, like having a piece of art to like kind of commemorate that in a way.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's so much more powerful. It's like a souvenir, but so much better. You know?
I tell people too, like you could, invest in, you want to buy stocks or whatever. Art at a certain level holds its value, and it's not just me saying that because I'm a director of a gallery.
Yeah.
You can look at, what they started selling for, and so you can invest your money if you just, because sometimes you get the New York finance guys, and they're like, cut through all the frou-frou stuff. Tell me
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
numbers. And that's another hat you have to wear. You have to be ready for those types of people because
Yeah.
they don't want to be told a 30-minute story. They kind of want to get numbers and facts. And so you can say, look,
Yeah.
this is something you can invest in, but also enjoy and look at every day on your wall.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of being a gallery director, at least from my perspective, seems like it's being able to kind of read people
Yeah.
and know like what kind of person you're doing. Because everyone will buy art, like you said, for a different reason. Kind of knowing what that
It's a master class in sociology.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you see all different types of people. You have to deal with all different types of situations. Yeah.
So, what are some ways that you create an experience in a gallery? Would you say, like, when you're not just doing a typical like open door, people walk in, like what are some ways you can draw people in?
Yeah. I think always thinking like comfort level. One of the main ways, first thing, is right when someone walks in, are you standing staring at the door? Because that is like a red light.
Yeah.
You walk in, so, oh man, the salesman is going to talk to me. Let me just turn around. Like,
Yeah.
so even when I'm not doing anything, I'm doing something. I might be wiping, pretending to, looking
Yeah.
busy. I mean, honestly, I'm busy.
Yeah,
Pretty
no,
much
you're
all the
always
time.
doing something. Yeah.
But not being just a static roadblock.
Yeah.
Because again, I mean, part of the the job is people might love the art, but if they don't love you, you're not really doing your job. In fact, you're doing the opposite, right?
Yeah.
So positioning where you stand, the way you talk to people, mirroring. I mean, there's like technical sales things,
Yeah.
which are good to hear, good to learn about. Some of them are like, if someone's doing this, you do this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I just think ultimate comfort level, like, hey, do you want a glass of water? I mean, I always offer like, hey, you want
Yeah.
some beer, wine? You know, like, oh yeah,
Yeah. Cozy up.
yeah. Just make it fun. Make it so that they have everything they need and they're not boxed in, so that they can actually look at that painting and not feel you burning a hole in the back of their head.
Yeah. Like, will this one
Awkwardly.
bite? Like,
And a lot of it, it's like sweets, like boxing, like a sweet science, where I come in, oh, did you know that this artist has a reality show? Then I walk away. I'll
oh,
be right
yeah,
back.
yeah.
So I'm not just standing there dumping information on someone,
Yeah.
because they might be looking at a painting, but they actually want to know. They want to know about Jake's piece over here, but I've been talking for 20 minutes, and now they're like, "Cool, all right, well,
Yeah.
we got to go to dinner. Thank you." So being present, going back to that, like, not telling your whole life story in the first
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is back to, we were talking about this earlier, but right after COVID, my gallery opened up after I don't know, 9 months.
Yeah.
Man, everyone just wanted to complain. You're not gonna make me wear a mask in here like they did on the airplane. Like, dude, how many airplanes, cab rides, how many places have you been in since you got here where, unfortunately, right now you have to do that? I don't know. It's,
Yeah.
some people just trauma dump and you kind of can't go anywhere.
Yeah. They get held hostage, basically.
So being polite in those experiences too. Like in Maui, there's, not a lot, but there's a couple homeless people that you kind of know them all. When they come in, hey man, do you want some water? Maybe they actually want to look at art. You don't have to be like, get out of here right now.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
kids, or your parents come in. I think just being excitable enough. That's what our job is
Yeah.
on this end of the business, to make someone that walks in that might never have an interest in the art get excited about it.
Yeah. And I feel like that's such an important thing for a gallery director to have is,
Yeah.
because, like you said, you have to be passionate about art too. Like, it's not just, get my commission, it's, because, yeah, like you said, people see through that. That's like, that used car salesman trope. And no one likes that.
People think they're so clever and they hide that or mask it, but it is so obvious to everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, I'm curious, what would you tell someone that was interested in becoming a gallery director themselves one day? Like, where would you say they should start?
That's a good question. Well, it's kind of like, I don't know what this quote is, but the person who doesn't want power is the one that should have it. I think if you go into it without wanting to be like a salesperson, that's a good way, from my experience, because I just loved art. I loved people, and I loved It's like you learn about communication. You learn about this connection that, I swear, only art in my life, I've noticed only art has this fourth wall that it can break down with people, where we can both look at something and connect in a way that I couldn't look to you face to face, and we have all these society politenesses, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think having a passion for people would be like the core fundamental value that you would need if you want to eventually be a gallery director.
Yeah.
And, wanting success too. I mean, it's important to for the artists, for yourself, obviously, but
Yeah.
there's something beautiful about seeing an artist that I don't think this is a good piece, and then it sells, and really encouraging artists, because I think artists are now as much as ever very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And galleries are important too.
Yes. Thank you.
And gallery directors. So you should go to Milan Art Gallery in Sarasota, Florida.
Yes.
You might see Jock there.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you, Jock, for coming. This was
Yeah.
a super fun conversation. I
had a
feel
great time.
like I know everything now about running a gallery.
And then we should have a couple more, because there's a lot more.
Yeah, for real. I feel like we just scratched the surface. I feel like you got stories to tell.
Yeah. There's more we can do more about, what artists could kind of learn just getting in galleries, or
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe
Talking
there's
to
a whole
people, selling
series.
art. Yeah. Do a master class.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us on this conversation. Be sure to follow Jock. We'll have his socials listed below. And subscribe, because more episodes will be coming your way.